these guys are all struggling to a certain extent. All right, Kevin in Chula Vista. Thanks for joining us, Kevin.
Gentlemen, thanks for taking the call.
Of course.
A couple of things. Last night, what did we have? We had top of the ninth. Manny was on base along with Soto, and here comes Bell. Here comes Jake and Will Myers. And
I think they all struck out.
Yes. And here they are sitting there looking at dead red fastballs, specifically Jake, and their bat is on their shoulder. That is an organizational strategy problem that needs to get corrected, and it still hasn't. And I don't understand why, when we're having these press conferences with Bob Melvin, Bob is not really pressed on this. That's just my impression. I could be wrong on that, but I don't hear.
I don't want to hang on, Kevin. I don't think you're wrong necessarily, but I don't think it's an organizational edict to try and take strike three. I do think it's an organizational edict to work the count and drive the pitch count up and try to get good pitches to hit. Going back to Cronenworth last night, he wanted to squeeze the sawdust right out of that bat, but he was obviously guessing. He was looking for another pitch, and a fastball came in, and it backed up over the inside corner, and he looked bad taking that pitch with the game on the line. But I don't know that it's an organizational edict to take strike three. I mean,
Chris, the point is we've seen this far too many times for it now to be this late in the season and still see this over and over and over.
Okay.
Now, last point. It's interesting to note that the players that we pick up, whether you go back to Adam Frazier last year, he came off of a going nowhere Pittsburgh team. We saw this year that we're picking up players from a Washington's National and Cincinnati Reds teams that were going nowhere, and now we're putting these these new players, into the pressure cooker, and they are not adjusting well yet to this. I don't know if they will. When Juan came over here, he was a 248 hitter, 248 this year.
Okay, Kev, okay, I got you. Juan Soto also has a World Series to his credit, so I don't believe he's going to shrink away from the pressure cooker. And I will also just say this. There are very few teams at the trade deadline who acquire any players from other contending teams. All teams at the trade deadline get players from lousy teams.
That's why they're traded.
That's how it works. That is not just the Padres. Everybody who acquires players from other teams gets guys that were on lousy teams. Jorge Soler came last year from a lousy Kansas City team to Atlanta, and he flourished. All right? And so did Duvall, coming from a lousy Miami team to Atlanta. So did Rosario, coming from a lousy Cleveland team to Atlanta or Minnesota. I can't remember. Rosario's moved around a little bit, but you get my drift.
Yes.
Everybody comes from a lousy team to contending teams at the trade deadline. That's not an organizational issue. So, I see your frustration, Kevin, but I can't get behind it 100%. By the way, one thing to note, and I just did a little addition there while Kevin was doing his soliloquy. Padres record this year against losing teams overall. Okay, because I know everybody's like, you got to beat the losing teams. We're not beating up on the bad teams. We only went 3-3 in this road trip. This is a problem. Overall this season, they're 45-27.